and welcome to Triathlete Development, the video podcast channel that gets to meet triathletes from all around the UK and the world to discover their journey to where they are now and the success that that's brought them. On this week's edition, I get to meet Harry Palmer, triathlete, triathlon coach and YouTuber. We'll be discussing his development through sport and all about his YouTube channel and how it became such a success on YouTube and on the race course. So Harry, thanks for joining me today. When we spoke, it was actually quite interesting because I launched Kieran's video last week, and literally a day later you posted that you were now going to be doing video podcasts. To be fair, we didn't have any conversation about that whatsoever. It just kind of
happened. So weird, isn't it?
I'm going to go with the great minds think alike sort attitude on it, shall we? But no, thanks for coming on, and hopefully this will be exciting journey to discuss. And I think your journey, one way of putting it, is probably the more alternative journey to where you've got to.
Yeah, 100%, I think.
Yeah, I think because when we discussed Kieran's, he obviously went through regional racing and then worked his way on to national series and then European Cup circuits and then on to pro long course circuit that way. Yours is great because it's so much different and it makes it so much
a bit
more
different.
It's a bit different, but it makes it so much more interesting. So talk me through a bit about where you started off in sport. Was you in sport as a child? Like, where was that sort of spouting from?
Yeah, so I think I was just a super active child, just like a hyperactive almost, which is, oh, sorry, mate, one of my athletes is calling me, sorry.
Go on, that's fine, I'll pause it.
No, sorry about that, mate.
I will have to warn you, if I get a phone call in about 5 minutes, it's this morning calling me to play spin to win.
Nice.
So I might have to run off for 3 minutes and play spin to win with Phil and Holly.
The dream.
Yeah, I know. So where were we? We were okay. You were a really active child, were you?
Yeah, super hyperactive, to be honest. And I think I was just incredibly lucky that my parents were just keen on me getting involved with any club, any sport that I wanted. We sort of had a rule in our house that you could do any sport, any club you wanted, and do it as long as you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it anymore, just don't do it. So I was very lucky in that sort of respect. Like, my parents were kind of like a taxi service, driving me around to different clubs, and I feel very sorry for them.
I was in the same boat as well. Taxi service parents is the dream for them, I think, though.
I think it's when you're in that position, you don't really appreciate all the sacrifices they make for you, and then you look back on it when you're a bit older and you're like, Jesus, like, that's a lot of effort.
I know, and all the money that they invest in you, and it literally just washes over your head when you're that young.
Massively, yeah. And sort of, so I started to whittle down the sports that I was interested in.
So what sports were you doing? What kind of, were you totally out there with all of them?
Literally everything. Yeah. I was doing like football, rugby, tennis, cricket, hockey, swimming, running, cycling. You name it, I've probably tried it. As you can imagine, with quite a few of them, I was a bit rubbish. So game sports weren't good. Like rugby, I mean, just look at me. Like, I'm clearly not going to be a rugby player. So yeah, like, after a couple of sort of embarrassing moments, I sort of thought, actually, yeah, maybe I should stop doing this sport or that sport. And then slowly it kind of just came down to, I was doing individually swim, bike, run.
Cool.
Which was just, it was interesting. That sort of worked out like that. And then my dad came home one day from work. He was like, oh, there's a local triathlon going on in a couple of weeks. Do you want to do it? And I didn't really know what it was. Like, I heard of triathlon before, and I knew a couple of people that did it, but it wasn't really that popular.
So that was, what year was that? Was that like 2014?
I think that was about 2014. Yeah.
So did you have any, was triathlon on your radar from like the London 2012 Olympics at all? Or was there anything that you thought may happen after that?
It definitely inspired me. It definitely made me think, oh, wow, like, that's pretty incredible. Like, I'd love to do something like that. I mean, I've always wanted to be active, but I've never really known what the end goal is. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just know that I don't want to have a desk job and sit around in an office all day.
I definitely know what you mean. So you then did the triathlon.
Mhm.
What was that experience like? Like, what
Most painful
was
day
it?
of my life.
And
I
you still
remember I
wanted
hadn't.
more?
Yeah, it's weird. We must have. I remember Sam Pickter saying this to me. It was about hill reps actually, but I kind of think it sums up most like triathletes. That we must have such a short-term memory because we don't remember how painful it is, and then we just want to do it again.
I know.
So, so yeah, that's kind of what it was like. I remember just being in so much pain for the whole thing, and especially the run off the bike. I'd never run off the bike before, so I just got the worst cramp in the world.
Oh.
Yeah,
What
just
distance
not
was it?
fun.
Was it a super
It was
sprint
only
or
a
a sprint?
sprint.
Oh, okay. Only a sprint.
Yeah, I say only a sprint. Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome. So that was pretty local.
yeah.
You then decided you wanted to do more stuff, right? And
hmm
when was that like the following year you then dip your toe in again, or?
I think it was. I think I maybe did a few more races that year, but actually the following year was sort of the year that I would focus a bit more on it, I guess.
Yeah. Where did you start racing? Do you remember any like kind of race you really enjoyed and stand out?
Yeah, so quite lucky to live quite close to the Cotswolds. So there's crazy amount of lakes over there, and there was a really good company called Events Logic that did did like local sprint distance, super sprint distance, and I kind of just got involved with those and was going over there. Got involved with the local cycling club, the Chippen and Wheelers. So was doing sort of they're like club time trials and stuff like that. Just trying to get involved that way, but it was very much locally.
Yeah. No. So what did you ever, just quickly going back to when you were doing your sports individually, did you ever compete competitively individually as those sports? So did you go to like swimming galas and things?
I did, yeah. Swimming was very much I did it because my mates did it.
Okay. You were there for the
So I
friends,
wasn't.
not for the fitness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things that I sort of did because I did enjoy it, but I enjoyed the social side of it a bit more, and I was very much just a club level. I didn't ever get to like a decent level at swimming. I still did the galas. I still enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, that's kind of as far as I got with that. Running, I think I took a bit more seriously. I went to sort of like cross country events and did national cross country events. Didn't ever do that well at the top end stuff. And then cycling, just like local time trials, really. To be honest, never really did any individual like crit racing or road racing at all.
Sure, sure. That's awesome. So did a few races locally, start broadening your horizons, I guess, in terms of what you can do in
Mm.
triathlon. Um, Qualified for GBH group, European
Yeah.
Worlds, was it?
Uh, Europeans was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came
Uh,
second
uh,
there in the Europeans?
uh, so I did my first Europeans actually was in Geneva
Mhm.
and did not very well. So I think that was one of those things that just like I didn't qualify straight off the bat. I got a roll down slot, and it
Okay.
was all just a bit overwhelming. And yeah, to be honest, I just don't think my head was in the game, and didn't do very well. And then the next event was the Worlds in Chicago. Again, didn't do very well because I think I basically put it down to the fact that we were basically in just a new place. We'd never been to America before. We were so excited,
Yeah.
and we ended up just exploring the whole of Chicago pretty much. And I swear we walked like 10 to 15K every day.
Oh my God. So you're more the tourist than the triathlete for that kind of.
Yeah, so I remember on race day, I thought I felt all right. I got on the bike and it was like my legs just wouldn't work, and I was like, "What is happening?"
I don't know if you've ever had the dream. I quite often have the dream where I get into transition and
Mm.
I'm stuck at my bike. I can't go off and run. And like, I've never ever had it in a race, or I've never had to go and just only do the swim bike and not be able to run. But
Yeah,
yeah, I certainly know that feeling of, oh my god, my legs just don't work.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then Europeans came around. Was that the following year then?
That was the following year, and I just wanted to prove something. I was like, I just have to do well. So,
Yeah.
and my mum came out with me, and I was like, you know what, I just got to actually prove that all of this effort and all this time and all the money they've spent on me is kind of worth it.
Was that in Spain? I'm trying to remember where that
That
was.
was in Spain,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No.
Which was it was a good race. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Did you
Came
qualify
I
outright
think
for that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So
Yeah.
kind of that's kind of what helped a little bit, I guess, is I felt like I deserved to be there.
Kind of, yeah, kind of belonged
Whereas,
there.
yeah, whereas with the roll down stuff, I was like, I don't really deserve it.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. So then quite soon after that, maybe just a couple of months later, you dip your toe into middle distance racing.
Yeah,
Where at Hever Castle, wasn't that?
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of just a bit of an end of season challenge just to see what it would be like.
Yeah. So
Um,
at that point, was you in a full training group in terms of like a triathlon setup?
yeah. So
Who were you with?
I was at university, and I'm pretty sure I was at university. Yeah, and so I was
This is
individual.
2017, so yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so I was at Plymouth Uni. It was funny because there was no triathlon club.
Okay.
So actually, it actually kind of worked out in my favor, I guess, because I trained with specific athletes from specific sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with the local swim club, Plymouth Leander, who've got a very good reputation for being very good swimmers. The Plymouth Uni cycling team, there were some decent cyclists there, and then I joined a running club in Plymouth as well, and that kind of I think that kind of helped me out a little bit, and then also when I came back home, I was visiting the what now is the British Triathlon squad, but it wasn't really the British Triathlon squad back then because Vicky and Reese hadn't sort of showed up yet.
Sure. So that was just kind of a squad with good athletes and a kind of
Yeah,
a setup, which was a really good starting point for you, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah. Who was coaching at that point?
So it was sort of Mark Threlfall set it up. So it was like the top athletes, I guess, would be him and Susie Cheetham.
Sure.
And then
they were both still racing at that time, were they not?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And then now that it's developed into sort of the British Triathlon squad, I guess, in the southwest, where Reese is taking it. We got Blair Cartmel and now Vicky Holland and a couple of other top end athletes.
No, it's awesome. That's awesome. So race to Hever, middle distance race, not really, just going and having fun, I guess. That
literally was the aim of the race, just to go in and just have a good time.
Yeah. How did that go for you? Was you on a TT bike? Was you on a road bike?
I was very lucky to have a TT bike.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped. I mean, it was a challenging bike course, but I think having the TT bike, it just does help out.
Yeah. I think those who, I've not done the middle distance race there. I've done the Olympic distance race 3 or 4 times. Just to give those a brief idea of what the course is like, it's in a, it's not really it is in a moat, isn't it? The swim.
Yeah, I'd say it is. Yeah.
So you kind of go out on the longest long lake and you take this like long like moat / stream around.
Yeah, it's quite wiggly.
Yeah, and you get attacked by branches and whatnot from all angles. It's quite the experience, to be honest.
It is quite funny.
And then you come out and the bike course is rather hilly. You go up through Ashdown Forest, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty punchy.
Yeah, so that's got quite a few nice climbs and descents on them. I'm trying to remember the year you did it. I think it was quite fresh in the morning and it warmed up quite nicely.
It did get quite warm. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because I remember that was the first year I'd raced there, and
okay.
I was doing the Olympic distance race, so I went off about an hour after you, and I was stood there in my tri-suit with my long sleeve bright red thermal on. By the time I got to the run course, it's around, I'm going to go with cows fields and cornfields.
Yeah.
It's an off-road kind of cross-country run, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And I was just baking in the sun. I was roasting like an absolute tomato in an oven. So yeah, the bike was good. You're lucky to
Mm,
have a TT bike.
yeah.
Like, was nutrition a problem on that day? Was that just kind of,
Um,
or did you have
you know
quite
what?
good advice on that?
It, it was just funny. Like I just didn't really plan it. I
Yeah,
just sort of took what
ate
I
what you
thought
thought.
was okay and just did it. And I think that's actually ultimately that's the best way that I race is just to not stress about anything, not really have like have a game plan, but actually just go with the race and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Um, and so I can't even remember. I think I just took some SIS gels with me. Um, and I can't remember what I drank. I probably just drank water, to be honest. There's
Did
just
you
a
have any
bit of a,
cramps at all on the run?
you know what? Actually, I don't think I did.
I think you were
Um,
lucky with the weather that day, because I think if it had been
yeah.
hotter, you probably would have
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
maybe suffered a bit.
Yeah.
So, where did you finish there? Was it top five?
I think it was just outside. I think I came sixth.
Sick. Yeah.
Um, and I was running. Actually, it was so funny. So an athlete called Barney Palmer. He's coached by Mark as well, and I
Mhm.
actually hadn't met him up to this point. And we were racing the same race together. And I came off the bike maybe 30 seconds in front of him, and he caught up with me on the run, and we ran the whole run together. And because we both called Palmer, we both surnames of Palmer. We've got Palmer on our tri suits. So everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's the Palmer brothers!" And every race that we do now, we always end up running together on the half marathon. It's just weird.
That's so bizarre. You're kind of a similar build as well from memory.
Mm,
Like
yeah,
it kind of works. I can see how they would want to pull your
it's
brothers
a bit
in
strange.
anyway. Do you train together now?
We don't actually.
No.
No, he lives in Cambridge.
Oh, okay.
So bit of a journey away, but we always like it's always good when we do meet up. Such a nice guy, down to earth. So
Mm,
yeah, it's nice to have those contacts in the sport.
yeah. So Hever went good, pretty good, I
Yeah,
think. You'd done a lot of sprint distance racing before that. Done national elite duathlon as a junior, finished sixth there.
yeah.
Had a really good race there, I think you'd probably agree with.
That was so painful.
I remember that was Windsor, I think it
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
I
Um,
remember just absolutely tanking the first run, and I was like, yeah, feeling incredible. And then I honestly just don't know where the rest of the field went. They just into transition, hopped on their bikes, and just went. And I was like, oh my god.
Wait, it wasn't just a 5K?
Yeah, I was like, guys, wait up, come on.
No, but I mean, surely a kind of a breakthrough race for you in terms of national series stuff for
It was
sure.
definitely an experience as well, racing against like, some of the best like elite juniors in the country.
Yeah, no, definitely. So you've had certain level of success at sprint. You dip your toe into middle distance racing. Kind of what made you then commit to middle distance and chasing the pro license then?
Um, I think it was just the fact that I've always seemed to enjoy slightly longer distances. Just like the type of effort that it is. I don't necessarily enjoy the fact that in sprint it just feels like your lungs and your heart are going to beat out of your chest,
I
and
so
like
get
that
what you mean. On
that
so many
sensation is
levels.
not fun.
It's almost like I don't know. I can reflect on long like my 70.3s in such more detail than I can
Yeah,
in like my sprint distance, because it is literally like looking through blurry goggles the whole time.
yeah, 100%. It's like an hour of just balls to the wall racing. You don't even know what happens. You just go.
So obviously your training has changed since committing to that goal.
Yeah.
You the following year you entered like your three main domestic 70.3s. You had your
Hmm.
Edinburgh, your Staffs, and your Weymouth. So
Yeah.
previously you'd done Weymouth prior to doing those three. You had a
Hmm.
bash at that, where you finished second age group overall.
Second age grouper, yeah. I it was funny. I thought, well, actually, when I crossed the line, I was first age grouper, and I was like, yes, get in. And then Sam Pictor crosses the line about 30 seconds after me, but because he started further back in the swim, he got a quicker time than me.
Oh, is it a
So I was like,
rolling wave start?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's actually where I first met him at the finish line. Like really nice guy, actually. Just been good mates ever since. But but that was just quite funny.
Was it a wet day there? I'm Weymouth known for
Yeah,
being horrific weather.
I swear it's been rubbish the last 2-3 years now.
If I'm honest, I'm surprised they're
Um,
still running it at that time of year.
yeah, honestly, yeah, me too. Um, and so yeah, that was the year that James Cunningham won it. Um, so yeah, I mean, just like world class athlete, obviously.
Yeah,
So trying
you're
to,
going to struggle to get anywhere
yeah,
near that, but you got
that's
pretty
it.
close to
Yeah,
be fair.
yeah, and I think like it kind of like I was so convinced that I would do it, but actually having not done it, I think it's almost like a blessing in disguise to not get the pro license, because
Yeah,
it gave me another year of just training and just thinking like, is this what I want to do?
yeah, and it almost makes you hungrier for it when you
Yeah,
get it.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
then you had the winter then to train. You then
yeah.
turned up to staffs, which is 70.3 staffs, which is what is it? Early June,
It
late
is.
May.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
probably one of the earlier ones.
Hmm.
And then Edinburgh, which now doesn't run, but that was how
That
long?
was quite unfortunate. Yeah, like Edinburgh was a. I mean, well, my result was utterly shite.
What happened there? What happened?
Ah, just everything. So I think the main issue was just dehydration. So it was just a weirdly hot day, like scorchingly
I
hot,
mean, a
and
very rare one for Scotland.
yeah, I know it must have been their only day of summer. And yeah, on the bike, I just didn't drink enough and got on the run, and it was actually quite a hilly run.
Hmm.
And just by that time, I was already in a deficit. That was actually the only race I've ever woken up with a headache, and I thought, oh, this isn't good. Like I'm clearly a bit dehydrated already.
Yeah.
So the run just was not fun. I stopped in every single Portaloo on the way round, and yeah, my mum was like, my mum was like screaming at me from the sidelines, going, "You don't have to finish," and I was like, "Yes, I
Yes, I
do."
do. I think that's like a real triathlete trait, is that you just have to, even if it's all gone to absolute pot, you just have to finish. Like, unless your
That's
leg
it.
is
Yeah,
hanging off or it's like or you've been decapitated or whatever, like
yeah,
you just got to finish.
yeah. I was thinking like my mum had driven me all the way up there. I was like, I'm not just gonna pull out now, And I didn't want everyone to say I'm a pussy, so I just like, yeah, I want to finish.
So that clearly didn't go very well.
No.
You haven't, just for those who don't know the criteria for getting pro license at that point, you'd hit the 8% mark at Weymouth the following year. You have then a 18-month period to get a second one. You have to
Hmm.
essentially hit it twice in an 18-month
Yeah.
period at least. So Weymouth again the following year was your next kind of opportunity, because I'm guessing
Yeah.
Stats didn't quite hit that.
I don't think Staffs was quite on the money. Like I think it was just close again.
Yeah. So then, did you have any races between Edinburgh and Weymouth, or did you just literally go, right, let's get my head down, train, get the best shape I can for this?
So I did do Outlaw Holcomb, but I can't actually remember what year that was. I'm pretty sure that was the same year. And actually, I'll have a look at my number board.
It was
It's
there
up
for
here
a
somewhere.
reason. There it is.
It's that one. So
Or is it the
no,
other
actually,
orange one? The one
that
to
was
the
the year
right?
before.
The run by the other orange one, up, 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 and to the
Oh
right,
God,
to the right, to the right. There, the
this
orange.
over here.
Oh, that one.
Uh, oh mate, I'm so confused.
You did a race.
Yeah, there was a race somewhere. It probably didn't go well.
So then you're turning up at Weymouth.
Hmm.
How were you feeling before the race? Was you kind of just really motivated to just get it right, or was it a bit like, not necessarily apprehensive, but you get what I mean?
Yeah, I think I definitely was apprehensive and nervous, and this was the year that the weather was just so bad. I'm surprised they didn't call it off, to be
So
honest.
you had was that the short and swim, and then the full
Yeah,
bike and the full run?
yeah, and it was just horrible. And I remember actually getting there on the Saturday, racking the bike and everything, and almost, I know this sounds really weird, but it kind of gave me peace of mind, because I was like, the weather's so bad, it's not going to be about racing, it's just going to be about finishing.
Yeah,
And for me, then it came back to the fact that I race better when I just look to enjoy it and I don't put pressure on myself. So actually, it kind of worked out in my favor because I just wasn't stressed about the result.
I think I totally agree. And I think when the weather is so horrific like that, I remember racing at it was the national championships in Liverpool, and it was the year Gwen Jorgensen came over to race it, and
Yeah.
they let her race run, and they cancelled us junior and senior men's after. And I mean, it was classified as a hurricane. The canoes were flying literally out of the water. How they even let them out on the bike course is beyond me. But
I know, right?
When you're racing in bad conditions, it's one of those things where it's the people that deal with the conditions and the environment best on the day that come out on top. It's not necessarily the fittest person or the fastest person half the time.
And that's what I love about actually racing in, it sounds weird, but I do love racing in kind of English, British, like rubbish conditions, because it's not necessarily who's the fittest or the fastest athlete, is who can just deal with that shit the most. And, you know, I'd like to think that I'm kind of quite good at racing in rubbish conditions. I've got a bit of a thick skin. I just kind of like just get on with it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So you hit your 8%, wasn't that?
Yeah.
You won your age group, one overall age group, and by default your age group. Pro license tick, right?
Yeah. It was a weird experience. Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't actually like 100% I got it, and then kind of sent off an application, and I can't remember how long they took to get back to me, but it was probably quite a long time.
Even if it was a day, it felt like a long time.
yeah. You know what British triathlon are like.
No, I remember actually watching your YouTube video when you posted that you'd got it, and I'd been following your journey on YouTube for a while by that point. And actually, like, it's still a goal of mine that I'm working towards. I'm not in any rush to get there at the moment, obviously, with things going on. But it was one of those things where it kind of just refreshes those who are working towards that sort of thing, that it is still doable from that angle. You don't have to be winning national series races, going to European Cups to get that automatic standard for a pro license, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think 100%. Like most people that I'm training with kind of have taken that performance pathway that you've just mentioned, and I just did not do that. And I like the fact that I did it differently, but also I think that a couple of people are like, maybe he's like not like, you know, done it properly.
Well, criteria are there to be hit, and you hit the criteria at the end of the day. So
exactly. Yeah,
you got it, and well done for that. It's not an easy task. I know that from my own experience. So 2019 comes round. You've qualified. Well, you've got your pro license the end of 2018. You've got the whole winter to then kind of process that, work on what you need to work on. Talk to me a little bit about how you kind of approached 2019 and what you were looking to get out of that as your first year as a pro.
So I think I genuinely just wanted to experience the pro races and the pro lifestyle and learn as much as I could from the better pros out there, and there were quite a few of them. So it was just about like dipping my toes in, just enjoying it. And I do think I let it get to my head a little bit too much. Like, in hindsight, I think I stepped away from the fact that I enjoy racing and I want to do it for fun, and I kind of got into my head that I need to hit these percentages and these times, and I need to be better at this and better at that, and blah blah blah. And I took it a bit too seriously, and it kind of took the enjoyment away from it a little bit. And that's why, like, my results, even though like they were consistent, but they weren't. I never had like a result that I was like, yeah, that was really good. Like, I did well. And I think it's just because I got into my head that I should be better. But actually, I think, you know, it's one of those things, like, it takes a long time to get anywhere and to get any good at anything. So I think I was just a bit impatient.
So do you think it'd be fair to say that you were, say, chasing or focusing on outcome goals rather than your process goals and just doing the best that you can?
I think 100%. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I always try 100%, but yeah, so I just let it get into my head too much, and it was just a bit overwhelming. I remember the first race, it was in St. Polten. I got a DNF, and I remember on the start line, Michael Weiss was next to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what happened. He just got into my head, just looking at him, and I was like, oh my God, I don't deserve to be here. What am I doing? Like, this is so overwhelming. And I think that's why I got a DNF, is because mentally I just wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. Was he there up until that point that you were on the start line, stood next to him or whatever?
Mm.
Was you there prior to that?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think it was just seeing those names that, you see them on Instagram, you see them on TV, they're bloody good athletes. They're kind of like your role models, I guess. And then you look at them and they're next to you on the start line. You're like, oh my God.
I think, yeah. And one of the things that I certainly noticed coming from the performance pathway that you haven't, is that when I think when you get to the pro division, you're not just chasing time and power and things like that. You're in a race with other people, even though it's non-drafting and stuff. I think it's so easy when you're in the age group section. It's so easy to just, when you're at that pointy end of age group, it's really quite strung out at times, and at times you probably don't even know where you are in relation to other people on the course. And I can completely understand if, like, when you're suddenly then thrown into people and suddenly you've got 3 other guys riding in a pack, and you then have that other competitive element that you normally haven't experienced on age group style racing, in that long course stuff, if that makes sense.
100%. I think that's one of the things with age group stuff. It's very much a time trial. It's very much A to B as quick as you can on your own. And then in the pro stuff, it's completely flipped on its head. You're racing the race. Like, it's not about, oh, can I hold this watts for this amount of time? It's, you go with that race. If the bike pack is surging, you go with it. Who cares about the watts? And I just didn't have any really experience with that. So I don't regret going for the pro stuff, because that was the ultimate goal anyway. But it definitely taught me a lot of lessons, and I've kind of taken that way. And this year it's kind of been, obviously, this year's not been anything really. but it's kind of given me a bit of time to step back. I want to enjoy the racing again before I then dip my toes back into it. No,
that's great. I mean, we've maybe discussed it in maybe not the most positive way, 2019 for you, and you obviously learned and had a massive learning experience that year. But let's just take time to appreciate you had a top 10 finish at 73. And it wasn't all DNFs and things like that. You did have some really good races in there.
Yeah, I don't want everyone to think that I'm all doom and gloom and I'm a miserable twat. Some of the time I am, but no, it was definitely, don't regret it. I mean, I had a great experience, and again, just without my parents supporting me, getting me places, helping out with funding for accommodation, flights, everything, it wouldn't have happened. So incredibly lucky in that respect. Had some real good help from friends and family, and it was just a good experience. It was tough, and maybe I didn't get the results that I wanted, but actually just to experience the pro racing and just to have a go. And I did give it 100%, and you can't ask for any more. Right. So you've got to be kind of content with that. As long as you do your best, then you can't be upset.
You can't ask for more than that. So this year, obviously, not the most enjoyable topics to talk about. What was your plans? I think.
So my main goal was actually to race domestic races, so do the whole Castle series, and that was the main goal for me. And then maybe dip my toes into a few challenge races as well, because I actually hadn't done a challenge race before. So I thought it'd be cool to do that. And ultimately, it was just to take a step back from the pro stuff and enjoy racing again. Just go into races to just have a good time, because, you know, I think triathletes generally take life a bit too seriously. And you just like, it is just a sport at the end of the day. So just enjoy it. And that's what I wanted to get back from it. Because I haven't really talked to too many people about this, but at the end of my first pro season, 2019, I was almost ready to pack it in. I was like, I just did not enjoy that season at all. You know, I know we just talked about the fact that it didn't actually go that badly, but sometimes you just get in your own head and you're like, oh, I'm rubbish. I don't deserve this. So whatever it is. And I just wanted to get back to that point where I wanted to race and I enjoyed racing. I didn't care about the result. So that's what this year was all about. Hasn't really happened, but
Still can be. I mean,
yeah.
still can be.
I mean,
about
I'm
that.
pretty confident that that there will be races towards the end of the season, and it's just about doing what you can as well. And like I said, just staying positive.
Yeah, no, definitely. You had a call at the start of this from one of your athletes. You are coaching. How long have you been?
Yeah.
How long have you been coaching?
I think I've been coaching for a year and a half now, nearly 2 years.
Nice. How's that
So
gone?
it's really good actually. I did the British Triathlon course, the level 2 course, which is was really enjoyable. Met some interesting people, and then now helping out Mark Threlfall with his T3 triathlon coaching setup, which having Mark as sort of my mentor, I guess you'd say, is incredible, because he just he's a pretty well connected guy. He knows his stuff, and kind of just learning from the best out there, which is really good fun. And I think the coaching it's just really good fun to sort of kind of I don't know actually the way to word this, but see how different athletes react to different kinds of training or different kinds of stimulus, I guess, and try and help them to be the best athletes that they can be ultimately.
Yeah, no. And for those who probably would recognize Mark from GTN, doesn't he? He's one of the co-hosts on GTN, so he's probably quite a busy guy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's still a great athlete, and I think I remember seeing a video of him carrying someone on his back and running through fields. He seems like a really fun guy. I've not had the pleasure of meeting him, but he seems like a really, really fun guy to at least even be working and doing bits of training with. Let's quickly go on to your YouTube. You have your own YouTube channel, formerly known as Chris and Harry. Now it's just Harry. What happened? Did you bury him in the back garden or something?
Yeah, I did. So basically, I guess I'll start from the beginning. Like
go from the beginning.
Chris and I were at uni together. We were both on the same course, product design. I think in first year we did not like each other at all. We were just complete opposites. And then in second year, we both went on the ski trip together, and we must have had a lot of alcohol and ended up being best mates.
As it naturally happens.
Yeah. And we decided at some point, I just wanted a video that I could hopefully try and get some sponsorship from, that just was like a day in the life. I remember watching, I think it was a video like 48 Hours with Tim Don or something, a couple of those videos.
Like one of the specialized days.
Yeah. And Chris had his own YouTube channel. It was like a vloggy kind of YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, could you do this for me? And then hopefully I'll get some sponsorship from it. And that never really happened. And then we decided to actually create a YouTube channel. And yeah, we didn't really know how it was going to go. We were just like, yeah, let's just do it and see what happens. I was quite like irregular uploads. We didn't really know what we were doing, but it was just good fun. And it grew slowly, but it kind of grew quickly at the same time. You know, you pick up momentum and people got behind it. And I think they enjoyed the fact that there was like a real friendship there. And then, long story short, well, actually, it's not long story short because I'm talking forever now. Basically, Chris had a really good opportunity to go to America and do some videography and photography stuff with Alex Stroll, I think his name is.
Yeah.
With Stroll Works, and that was incredible for him. And I was like, yeah, mate, 100%, you've got to do that.
Like Chris is
And
really, really talented at what he does, isn't he?
He's incredible.
Super creative, and like his work is insane. I've given him what's his Instagram?
So his Instagram now is CNick Films.
Go check it out because
I think
it'll be on yours as well. You got it in your bio. I know that it's on your bio. But yeah, go check it out. His work is really good. But sorry, go on.
I mean, hats off to him. Like he's incredible at what he does, and he's learned a lot in a very short amount of time, which is hats off to him. But basically, I was like, I just kind of really want to keep going with these videos. So I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna buy a GoPro, and I'm gonna see what happens. So immediately, like, the videos were going really good because Chris was there, and then Chris went to America, I started the videos, and they just went down.
I think, to be fair, like it's been a creative learning process for you as well, because obviously you're now
100%
creating and then editing and making and coming up with new ideas for videos as well. So it's not trust me, I tried doing a YouTube video at the start of lockdown, and for the week that I did it drained the hell out of me. If you're not efficient at it and you're not used to doing it every week, it's quite time consuming and quite draining in that respect.
100%. I think people, especially like me, like I didn't appreciate how long it took to create a video. So whenever Chris created the videos, I was like, man, he's taking forever to do this. And then whenever I started doing it, I was like, oh my God.
I'm taking forever to do this.
I was like, what's going on? Chris, come back.
It's like when Eric Lagerstrom or yourself just like put out videos every week, and like sometimes you'll say, I literally bung this together over the last 2 days. And I look at it and go, that would take me weeks to get something that good together. Like, kudos to you, because what you've done with it is really good. And did Chris have much input on helping you develop those creative aspects?
He's definitely helped me out. Massive, like, hats off to him. I mean, he continues to help me out as well. He continues to give me ideas, to give me tips, and whenever we meet up, I'm constantly trying to learn from him because he is that good. And so it's also one of those things that people think the better you get at something, or the better you get at editing, the less time it will take. But actually, you want to do better each time. So actually, you end up spending longer on it. And so actually, like, you end up just spending like hours and hours on these videos, which I don't mind. I do love it. But it's definitely, like you said, people don't appreciate how long the videos actually take to make. Yeah,
no, definitely. And even just something as simple, searching for music, to put in it, obviously. Stuff that you can use and not get sued for, or working with artists. It's not an easy job, that's by any stretch. And sometimes, like, I mean, you have, I'm trying to think of the websites that like Talbot Cox uses. It's oh God, I can't even remember what it's called.
Epidemic Sounds?
Yeah,
that's
one.
It. Yeah.
So I know a lot of. I think Eric Lagerstrom uses that one as well. Do you use that one?
So what I used to do on YouTube is like, I guess a similar thing to what you've just been talking about is like type in like no copyright blogging music or some rubbish like that, and you end up getting, I mean, a load of rubbish, and there's sometimes some gems in there, but you've got to search for a long time. And again, like, just very lucky, Chris has an Epidemic Sounds account, and I've managed to jump in on that. So
we all do it with Netflix, so why not with that?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but yeah, it takes a while, and like I say, you've done a really great job of making it your own.
Thanks, man.
with the help of Chris, and do go check it out if you are watching this still. And no, it's really good. And now you're doing 2 videos a week.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to do 2 videos a week, but Honestly, I just don't think there are enough hours in the day to do two kind of like edity kind of vloggy videos. So like every Sunday is like the vloggy training day kind of video, and I wanted to do another one, but just like it just takes so long, and with all the training and the coaching, I was like, I just don't have time for it. But with the podcast now, it's quite easy to put together. So you just kind of end up like cutting out some rubbish that you don't want to put in, and you don't really need to do any special kind of scenes or edits or anything. So it doesn't take that long. So I think it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's what I found. Because I mean, this is literally the second one that I've recorded, and I mean, with the first one, I literally shoved like something at the end, something at the beginning, and just kind of whacked it out there. And
yeah,
when you're creating something like this, you don't really have to edit it much, like you say, and it's decent content because the conversations we're having are good, I hope.
I hope so. Yeah.
If someone hasn't gone to sleep by now, which I'm sure they haven't, I hope. Yeah, so chatting creates its own content, and it's a really effective way of getting stories and getting messages across.
It's one of those things that I always used to just listen to music, and now actually I'm really into podcasts because whenever I'm actually back training and Bath Uni's open, it's kind of like a 45-minute journey each way, and I kind of figured it's such a waste of time if I'm just listening to music. I may as well try and educate myself a little bit.
Yeah.
So listening to podcasts is such a good way, like, of one, entertainment, but two, like educating yourself and like listening to different people's views on things. And I think there is definitely like there's a big market for them.
Do you have any favorite channels? What are you loving?
You know what I'm loving at the minute? The Trainer Road podcast.
Mm-hmm.
They are quite long. Like, I think each episode's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So they're pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
But they're incredible. I think they're so good. If you want to learn anything about cycling training, the biology of the human body, whatever it is, I think it's one of the best podcasts out there for that.
No, that's awesome. I think one that I found, which is really, really good, is findingmastery.com. It's a website and a podcast channel. My coach Glenn Cook actually put me onto it, but it doesn't just focus on, it basically focuses on those who are masters of what they do. And so it goes from anything from musicians to performers to sportsmen, athletes, and snipers actually. And sniper one was actually a really, really interesting one. So yeah, no, they are really useful. And when you are when you're on the turbo traveling around it's good to keep your mind active, really, I think, especially
definitely
even more so. Look, Harry, thanks so much for coming on. This has been really, really
thanks for having me.
Hopefully we can do this again in a bit, and hopefully when you're back up racing, I'll see you out there on the race course.
Sure, yeah, look forward to it.
Cheers.